Hello there. I'm Dino. I'm going to talk. I'm aware I'm the person in between you, as always, between you and drinks. So I'll try and keep this quite quick. I'm going to talk to you about the science of effective out-of-home creative. So I'm not going to do that innovation thing I normally do, but it's going to be just as quick. I will speak, broadly speaking, this quickly all the way through, but hopefully that works for you. If not, there's a recording. I guess we can look at it later, slower. This is me. If you don't know who I am, probably good, quite frankly. I'm Dino. I was actually named after Enzo Ferrari's son, so I am officially Italian, obviously. I'm a creative, so I trained as a creative. I've been an illustrator, a designer, graphic designer, creative director, art director. I'm also a techie. I've also been a tech director. I've been a games developer. I used to work for Disney creating games. I'm a nerd. I love it. It's awesome. And I'm a strategist. So I've spent the last 7 years sort of joining all that together, helping businesses actually make money, quite frankly. I've done it for 30 years. I still love it. I don't understand why, but it's amazing. And I help companies actually do the things. So that's basically me. That's it. We're going to talk about what is creativity in out of home. And I've made it into 4 things. Art, tech, science, and craft. Now, if you do the maths, I've got 20 minutes, probably slightly less now, and that's not a lot on each one, so I'm not going to go too deep, but hopefully it will be useful. I'm going to start with the art. This is the mysterious bit. So we are all artists. I'm going to say that right now. Even the numbers people in the room, even if you deal with pixels and squares, you are an artist. You are a creative. I can't be doing with this, oh, the creatives are in the corner. They do the creative. We are all creative. We are all artists with our craft. However, let's look at Picasso, possibly one of the greatest creatives of the 20th century. Picasso has his canvas, has his tools, has his inspiration. Maybe he's going to draw some flowers later. Maybe he has a style, his past style, his future style he wants to use. Has some restrictions. There's a calendar on the wall, helpfully for me. Maybe there's a deadline that he's got to adhere to. There's an envelope. I don't know what's in there. It maybe is a mortgage statement. Maybe he's got some bills. Maybe there's a brief. Who knows? But also, his superpower is his curiosity. I love this pose. Been trying that out. However, that is Pablo Picasso. But we are all artists as well. We've got the same stuff. We've got our canvas. We've got our tools. We've got our inspiration. Maybe you've seen a Can Award. You've got your style guide, probably from your client. You've got your restrictions, whether it's money or time or whatever. You've got your obligations, your revenue, your KPIs, your whatever footfall you've got to drive. You've also got your curiosity. Not one of us wants to stay still in this room. What's next? What do we do next? So we've got the same tools as Picasso, is basically what I'm saying, but we've got more. Because we've got formats, we've got fonts, we've got images, we've got knowledge, we've got color, we've got data, we've got brands, we've got copy, motion, network, we've got locations, we've got tech, we've got time and timing, we've got schedules, we've got physicality, we've got all the other stuff in between, we've got retail media, we've got APIs, we've got loads more things. Imagine what Picasso would have done if he'd have been in out of home. But we got a load of tools as well. So that's cool, but it's what you do with it that counts. So let's have a quick look at the science, the second of those categories. This is why and how it works. Let's go right back to the beginning, bit of a refresher. This is your high school. An advertisement promotes a product, brand, or service to an audience to elicit awareness, interest, engagement, or sales. Broadly speaking, that's what an advert does. Now, it doesn't have to be sales. It can be awareness. It can be a good thing, a beautiful thing, a thing that helps the city, the world, whatever it is. But that's pretty much why we're in the room. However, you can't really measure the creative aspect of that. There's no KPI to creativity. Wrong, there is, and you can measure it. I've actually spent several hours in rooms with scientists with cranial caps on, having my synapses measured whilst I'm doing creative exercises. You can actually, at a brain level, measure creativity. We're not going to do that at this point. We're going to talk about adverts. So these are lots of studies. You can go and have a look at the studies. They're all down here. You know, Mark Ritson also puts his name to this one as well. If you don't know who Mark Ritson is, please look him up. He's got some smart things to say. However, this is what affects effectiveness. Brand and share. So your brand is most important. I'll say this a lot. Secondly, creative execution. If you are Coca-Cola, you just stick a Coca-Cola logo on an advert, you're pretty much done. Okay? But if you take your brand and you mess it up with creative, you can do that very easily. Likewise, if you have no brand, you're really reliant on creativity. So the two largest things that basically affect your effectiveness are those. I want to talk out research as well. You can do as much research as you want, but it would not have predicted 30 years ago a man dressed in orange, naked, running around hitting people around the face, advertising tango. No research would have given you that, and it's one of the most creative campaigns and successful campaigns you've ever seen, basically. What drives profitability? Same story. If you've got your brand, it'll 20x. If you've got creative, quality, that's 12. Everything else, whether you've got multimedia, your budget across variants, you've got your target audience, great. But this is the biggest thing within our control. You don't control the brand, the client controls the brand. They've been working on that for years. This is the bit that's in your hands and you can control. Very important. Lots of other industries or lots of other platforms have already figured out, this is a bit blurry, but you get the idea. Basically this is Cannes Lions and Walk, who are really worth looking at as well. They have figured out, or they've at least categorized, the types of creative idea. So this is actually categorized in sales impact. So there is some logic behind this, and whether you're doing an influential idea, which is basically an overachieving idea that just so happened to punch above its weight, all the way up to a really sort of enduring icon, but really halfway, you want to be above halfway here, which is when you start talking about brand building. So they've already categorized that. Are you aware of all the media running on your networks, which one of these it is, and therefore how you should probably be approaching it? Probably not, but there is a spectrum. Creatives are using this spectrum. If you go into an agency like Leo Burnett's, for instance, they have the 7+ scale, and they want you to be 7.5. They won't let anything out of the house if it's not 7.5, okay? And what happens here? An inspiring idea, beautifully crafted, exactly what Anna was saying this morning. It has a responsibility to be beautiful, and it goes all the way up to it changes the world. Importantly, number 2 is no idea whatsoever. Literally no idea, just do stuff. What's worse than that is a destructive idea. Your design can take a brilliant brand and make it destructive. Okay, so you need to worry about this. In fact, number 3 is an invisible idea that nobody really even sees. Don't be in that area. So are you aware of where the ideas running on your platforms currently sit on this scale? Let's talk about amplification of the creative as well. If you run out of home as part of the creative mix on your campaign, it has a multiplier effect. Video online, almost like the enemy of out of home. If you run out of home with it, you get a 45% uplift on your video budget. Likewise, it's different for each one of the categories. So with a bit of really useless maths, sorry for all the people who do maths, if your out of home budget is 44% of your media budget, it's almost for free because you've already got the uplift for it. So kind of interesting. Let's talk about viewability, technical viewability. So can it actually be seen versus do people actually see it? 100% of out-of-home is technically viewable. I know of no billboards that are in locked rooms or buried in the ground that you can't actually see them. But 100%, it's the leader. And likewise, do people actually see it? It's the leader in that as well. All the way down here, you've got basically web banners. People have got ad blockers. Sometimes technically they can't see them. They're off the page. And that's what we're dealing with. So that's awesome. However, sting in the tail is the time you actually get to see it. So some of the creatives we saw from Anna this morning, I totally agree. They look like vomit on a page. However, 1.9 seconds on average, somebody gets to actually ingest the message. It's not exactly that. It's 2.8 seconds for a video creative, and on average, it's 1.2 for a static. There are different variations of this, and depending if it's cross-track and it's a long-form copy, clearly it's longer. A 30-second ad, you actually only really see a third of it. YouTube, skippable, you can skip it at 4.5, and that's why it's exactly 4.5, etc., etc. However, you've only got a little bit of time, on average, whilst you're in your car, you're walking by, to actually take it in. So this has to affect how you use your creative. In short, creativity is critical for effectiveness and ROI. The brand is the most important, and I'll keep saying this throughout the rest of this presentation. Out-of-home amplifies the value of the other channels in different ways, and you have 2 seconds. Make sure your brand and your creative is bold. Let's look at the tech. This is kind of one of my super passions as well. Supercharging your tools. Let's start with Arthur C. Clarke. Brilliant quote. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Magic, creative are almost the same sort of thing. If you took a drone, basic drone back 30 years, it would have been magic. It would have been a UFO and all sorts of things. Nobody knows how it works. It would have been magic. Now, what he's really saying is invisible technology heightens the creativity. If you can see how it works, if somebody shows you a trick and they show you how it works, it's not a trick anymore. It loses its magic. So the creativity is magic, so therefore that's how it works. And I've done a graph for you just in case you didn't believe me. We need to be up there, just in case. Screenshot that one, it's legit. However, the tool is just the technology. It needs to be in service of the creative idea. The creative idea, if you want to find out who's looking at your billboard, maybe install an audience measurement camera, invisible stuff, okay? If you want a live interaction with the screen, you want to play Pong or something like that, well, you probably connect to mobile or custom device using WebSockets. If you want to make sure the right people are seeing it, you've probably got some data and programmatic. You've probably got, if you want to send something to somebody, maybe you want to surprise them. Maybe you also want to track them ongoing, add a QR code so that they can actually get some sort of interaction, and then consider retargeting and attribution. Likewise, if you want to display some sort of data, then get an API. Of course you will do. All the stuff along the top is in service of creativity and an idea, and all the stuff along the bottom should be invisible. Sometimes you don't even need the technology. So this is what we used to call DIB. It used to appear on briefs all the time, and it was called Dino in Bush technology. And here's a good example. Thank you to Ocean for letting us do this. This took a couple of days to put together. And if you showed the billboard some love, you showed a thumbs up or you kissed or whatever you did, it would react directly to you. So you went like that. It would say, thanks for the thumbs up. Thinking, how are we doing that? Is it facial recognition? Is it gesture tracking? Is it LiDAR? And it was actually me sat in a bush, quite literally on the steps about here, just looking for people, go, oh, there's somebody who's just done that. I'd scroll on my mobile phone, press the special interface button, thumbs up, and it would trigger the ad. Just 2 internet pages connected to HTML, and I would trigger it. And that saved probably £100,000 and 7 weeks in technology, just doing that. So that's Dino in Bush. If you're thinking like, well, how do we make magic? We're not really sure how we do that. Well, if you've got a classic ad, basically, well, put UV lights on it, and when it's at night, it glows, and people go, oh, that's magic, it's amazing. Maybe your JPEG or your MP4 becomes a HTML payload in your media player, in which case you can do all sorts of interactive stuff. It becomes magic, though nobody knows how to do it. The data and the API, of course you want to do that, and you don't need to overthink it. Just put a camera on a billboard with permission, obviously, and just watch how many people start larking about in front of it and interacting with your campaign. You can do lots of attribution. Just stick a camera on a big screen and just go for it. You'll be amazed how many sort of kids get involved in it and all sorts of things. So you can overthink it. Now let's talk about the crafts. So obviously I'm a creative. I like mischief. I don't really like the rules particularly, but the rules are there to guide us sometimes, and especially here. So how do we do it well? This is probably building on Anna's earlier as well, so thank you for that as well. The logo, the brand is the most important thing. We've seen there's some stats behind that, and there's lots of examples. You know, great, Kit Kat, take that away. Okay, awesome. Put the logo at the top, put it in the middle. If there's one thing you do is you don't cover up the logo, you don't make it small, you don't put it in this little bit here, and you don't take away from this rich, delicious break. You don't take that away, because that can be attributed to almost any biscuit. So logo is the one thing you do. If you take everything else away, just put a Kit Kat logo on red. It will do more than not having it there and talking about a biscuit. The message, keep it simple. It is really the biggest takeaway other than the brand. New Sky Broadband Gigafast, 25 times faster. I can read that in 2 seconds. I'm done. I know exactly what this is about. A lot of ads get it the wrong way around. They do the campaign message, then they do the brand message, then they do the logo. So instead of saying, you know, it's hot out, 50% off cool coffee at Starbucks, it's got to be Starbucks, 25% off coffee. You know, it's cool out, cool it down even more. Great. If you only read it in that order, logo, message, campaign. Awesome. Simplicity, obviously, you're getting the sense of what I'm saying here. 3 things. There's lots of people who give you lots of different guidance on this, but I say 3 elements. I think this is a really good ad. Some words, the product, the logo, right? Nothing else. You don't need anything else. Excellent. No more than 10 words. I wouldn't even do that, to be honest, but there you go. You know, keep it simple. Brand association. Tom showed this one this morning. I cannot agree more with this one. You know, if you've got any brand assets, a logo, a color, a font, a person, a dog, whatever it might need to be, use it. Brand is the most important thing. Bring that to the battle. However, to that point, creativity is the second most important thing, and I'll demonstrate that. If this was green, that would not work. It would be for Shrek or something, I don't know, slime or something, who knows. If you took the data away from it, it would just be like a blank ad waiting for them to put a proper ad in its place. So the design you can get wrong, and therefore it doesn't matter what brand you've got, it will affect it. So really good example. Be out of home specific. Don't want to see any print reuse, any sort of small copy, all that sort of thing. But this one, obviously everybody knows this one. It's the McDonald's ad, and it's for, you know, roadside. But it is designed specifically for out of home. It lives where it needs to because of what it is. If you've got a square, if it's on a bridge, under a tree, it's got a light on top of it, how can you use that to make it more effective? So be aware of where it actually is and make it out of home specific. Psychology, again, Tom talked about it this morning, about that sort of, that's sort of aha, oh, I fixed it, I've worked it out myself. There is actually a huge amount of research that says it embeds it deeper in your mind. So this one, you go, oh, it's Coca-Cola. Oh, it's recycling. And then you do the whole thing where you go, oh, open, taste, recycle with us. Oh, that's nice. You feel better about that brand. You'll feel more associated with that brand because you had to work it out. Teachers know this. Don't just give people the answers. Make them work for it. They'll learn more and they'll appreciate it more. The aha moment is powerful. And learnings. You'll hear from System 1 tomorrow, which will be awesome, by the way. If there's one thing that you do watch, it's that. And everybody else, obviously. However, if there is a way that you can put your ads or your creative through some sort of prior thing, well, why wouldn't you do that? So System 1, for instance, sorry, Orlando, I borrowed this, but hopefully I'll get this right. Essentially, you can run something through this, and it will tell you which one's going to do the best. It'll give you a scale. It'll kind of red, amber, green it. So you wouldn't run this one, sparkling matcha, limonade. You would actually run the sparkling tea fusions, because it's going to do better. Okay, there are other tools available. But use them. And I'm going to have a little rant. In the creative agencies, been in creative agencies a long time, and I've never once had any information from the previous campaigns that helped me with the new campaign. Never saw it. Not that I didn't receive it and ignore it. I never had one piece of information that told me what happened last time so I can build on it. If there's one thing you take away from this, please give your creative agencies the data that they need to make the effectiveness better through their creative. Please do that. And just as a bit of a thing at the end, by the way, that's that bit done. I'm going to give you 5 examples of what I think the future might have, or just a little taste, some things in the future. Some of it might be a little scary. However, this is Meta. Google have got the same sort of thing. It's their generative adversarial network-powered adverts. If you have your bag here, and it will then go like, I'd like it to be for youth, I'd like it to be for a certain thing, it will regenerate all the images for you, different backgrounds, different colors. It will generate the text for you. If you want to translate it, it will do that, giving you access to all the markets. It will actually let you expand your images. If you want it portrait, landscape, square, it will do that for you. So that's available. This is Adobe. They came out with this about 2 weeks ago. Just an example. This is your reformatting done. So notice this one. You take your square ad. You want it to be this one. And it will automatically redo the design. It won't just stretch it. It'll put stuff in different places to make it balance out. And likewise, if you also know that this is really what you want to say, but people react better to that one, and you want this one to look like that one, it does it for you as well. So basically, you can have your style and you can transfer it to a different advert. That's available right now. And creative effectiveness, just for fairness, I've picked on Kantar as well. Can't just all be System 1. However, the point of this one is you run your advert through this. It'll tell you over time how it's working, and it can start to give you stats like how much incremental gain in advertising awareness per unit of media spend will this ad generate? 37 out of 100. How likely will the ad help drive an uplift in sales for the brand? Run your ads through that, compare them, and it will give you which one's better. Likewise, they give you a little sort of a graph here, a little hockey stick of red. If it's in the red, do not launch the ad. It's not going to do particularly well. Fiddle with it, change the voiceover, and then it might get into the green. Launch it, you're good. Why wouldn't you do that? Out of home media. So obviously the online media, and we talked about FOO as well. Should we own it? Yes, of course we should. We heard from Christian this morning at Stroyer, and he was saying, actually social media is something that they actually offer as well. Of course they do. Well, you've got the people who are doing false out of home, and they're coming into our world using CGI and going, well, we can own that. And you go, well, we do out of home. We can go into the CGI world. We do that as well. So why shouldn't we do that as well? It should be part of what your offering is, and it also offers you far more creative freedom. The 70-20-10, if I go back on that one, I'll just recommend the 70-20-10 model, which is 70% of what you do is just it's going to work. Then you've got the 20, which is, I saw it last time, it might be a bit interesting using hero screens. And the 10 is we can afford to probably throw this away, but if it goes big, it's going to make a massive effect on us. So a lot of the stuff is probably in that 10%. So I worked with a lot of companies that used to sort of plan their promotions on the 70-20-10 model. Meta also have this, so you might have seen earlier in the year, you've got Apple with their virtual reality headset, and it looked amazing, but it still looks like a box of eggs strapped to your face. Whereas this is what Meta's Orion. You can't get this. It's so expensive. They will not launch it. It's millions of pounds if you wanted it, but they're giving it to journalists just to have a go. And they're showing you what the future of augmented reality glasses is currently. So they look like glasses, a bit nerdy, but I've worked in art studios where the art director looks like this anyway. So does Gideon, by the way. So, you know, this is what it's going to be looking like. Now, they can project things into your world, products, adverts, but what they can also do is they can also block your adverts with nice little squares that map exactly onto your adverts as well. What are we going to do with that? How does that work? What's the future going to look like? You can't buy those because they're so expensive, but probably good. So there you go. Hopefully, that's interesting. I rant like this every Monday morning on YouTube. If you'd like one of those, that's that link. It just links to YouTube, nothing dangerous. If you want to just say hello, send me an email, whatever, it's that one. And I think we're done. Hopefully on time. Didn't need a drink.